The rain was falling like the sky itself had given up, blurring the city lights into streaks of silver and shadow, when a desperate sentence changed two broken lives forever. A woman with shaking hands and a heart cornered by time whispered that she needed a husband by tomorrow, not because she believed in fairy tales, but because the world had pushed her against a wall. Somewhere across that same unforgiving city, a single father carrying the quiet weight of responsibility made a choice that would alter the meaning of home, trust, and love for them both. Before the story pulls you deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that one good decision can change everything, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Emily Carter had always been strong, or at least that is what everyone said about her. Strong women, people believed, did not fall apart. They did not wake up in the middle of the night gasping for air, counting the days left before everything collapsed. But strength had not prepared Emily for the letter that arrived one quiet afternoon, stamped with cold authority and written in words that offered no mercy. Her late father's house, the only place that still felt like safety, was about to be taken away. The condition was cruelly simple. The property, held in a rigid family trust, could only remain hers if she was married within 48 hours. It was an outdated clause, a relic of a controlling past, but it was real, and it was unstoppable. Emily walked through the empty rooms that night, touching the walls as if they were living things, memories echoing in every corner. This house had seen laughter, arguments, birthdays, and funerals. It was where she had learned to survive after losing both parents too young. Losing it felt like losing them all over again. Friends offered sympathy, but sympathy could not bend legal documents. By the next morning, exhaustion carved shadows under her eyes, and desperation settled deep in her chest. She did not need romance. She did not need promises. She needed a husband by tomorrow. On the other side of the city lived Daniel Brooks, a man whose life had been reduced to routines and quiet sacrifices. He woke before sunrise every day, packing lunches and tying shoelaces, making sure his 8-year-old daughter Sophie never felt the absence her mother left behind. Daniel's wife had died suddenly 3 years earlier, leaving him with grief that never fully healed and a child who watched the world with cautious eyes. He worked as a carpenter, hands rough from labor, heart gentle from necessity. Love, for Daniel, had become something distant, almost dangerous. His life was about survival, not dreams. Daniel and Emily crossed paths through a mutual acquaintance who believed in impossible solutions. The introduction was awkward, heavy with unspoken truths. Emily looked like someone standing at the edge of a cliff, while Daniel looked like someone who had already fallen and learned how to walk with the scars. There was no spark, no romantic music swelling in the background. There was only honesty, raw and uncomfortable. Emily laid out her situation without embellishment, her voice steady even as her hands trembled. Daniel listened, not as a rescuer, but as a man who understood what it meant to be trapped by circumstances beyond control. What made Daniel pause was not the proposal itself, but the image of Sophie sleeping alone in their small apartment, the way she clung to him whenever the world felt uncertain. He knew what instability did to a child. He also knew what it meant to lose a home, to feel uprooted. The idea that Emily would move in with them, that this arrangement would be practical rather than romantic, felt strange but not impossible. It felt like two people choosing survival together instead of drowning alone. The next 24 hours passed in a blur of paperwork, silent drives, and nervous glances. There were no grand vows, no audience to witness the moment their lives legally intertwined. The ceremony was small and efficient, almost clinical, yet beneath the surface, something heavier pulsed. When it was done, Emily felt both relief and fear wash over her at once. She had saved her home, but stepped into a life she did not understand. Daniel felt the weight of responsibility double overnight, aware that he had brought a stranger into his daughter's world. Living together was harder than either of them expected. Emily struggled with the constant reminder that she was an outsider in someone else's routine. Sophie watched her carefully, polite but distant, guarding her heart with the wisdom of a child who had already lost too much. Daniel tried to keep boundaries clear, focusing on schedules and logistics, but emotions have a way of leaking through even the strongest walls. Late nights were filled with quiet reflection, each of them questioning whether they had made a terrible mistake or a necessary one. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, cracks formed in their defenses. Emily began helping Sophie with homework, discovering the child's love for drawing and her fear of thunderstorms. Daniel noticed how Emily fixed small things around the house, how she spoke to Sophie with patience instead of pity. The house that once felt too small started to breathe. Laughter returned in unexpected moments, tentative at first, then more freely. Meals became shared experiences instead of obligations. The arrangement remained unspoken, but something warmer began to grow in the spaces between them. Trouble came when the outside world pushed back. Whispers from neighbors, judgment from extended family, and the lingering presence of Emily's legal battle threatened to unravel everything. Emily overheard cruel assumptions about her intentions, and old insecurities resurfaced. Daniel faced doubts of his own, questioning whether he was confusing gratitude with affection, stability with love. The fear of hurting Sophie again loomed over every decision, a silent warning that held him back. One evening, a storm knocked out the power, plunging the house into darkness. Sophie panicked, memories of the night her mother died flooding back. Emily, without thinking, held her close, whispering comfort, becoming a shield against the fear. Daniel watched from the doorway, something shifting deep within him. In that moment, he saw not a stranger or a temporary solution, but a woman who chose care even when she did not have to. The realization scared him more than anything else had in years. Emily's turning point came when she stood alone in her inherited house, now legally secure, and felt nothing but emptiness. The wall she had fought so hard to save no longer felt like home. Home, she realized, was not a structure but a feeling, something fragile and alive. She understood then that the marriage might have begun as a contract, but her heart had rewritten the terms without her permission. As days turned into weeks, honesty finally found its way into their shared silence. Without dramatic confessions or sudden transformations, they allowed themselves to acknowledge what had grown between them. Trust replaced fear, and choice replaced obligation. Sophie sensed the change, her laughter brighter, her drawings filled with three figures holding hands. Healing, it seemed, was contagious. Just before the ending, take a moment to comment below and share what this story has made you feel, or tell us about a time when life surprised you with an unexpected second chance. The real test came when Emily was offered an opportunity to start over completely, far away, free from the past and its conditions. It was everything she had once wanted. But standing in the doorway of Daniel's home, watching him teach Sophie how to fix a broken chair, she understood that walking away would mean losing something far more precious than a house. For Daniel, the choice was just as heavy. Loving again meant risking loss again, reopening wounds he had carefully sealed. But he had learned that protecting himself had also kept joy at a distance. In the end, there was no dramatic gesture, no cinematic kiss under fireworks. There was simply a shared decision to stay, to try, and to build something real out of something accidental. Emily stopped counting days, and Daniel stopped bracing for disaster. They chose each other not because they had to, but because they wanted to. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that love can grow in the most unexpected places and that broken beginnings can still lead to beautiful endings, please like this video, share it, and leave a comment. Your engagement means more than you know, and it helps keep stories of hope alive for others who may need them most. Sometimes life does not give us what we want in the way we expect. Sometimes it gives us what we need disguised as desperation, wrapped in fear, and delivered at the last possible moment. And sometimes, when two wounded souls choose kindness over caution, tomorrow becomes the start of everything they never believed they deserved.